There we go. I do believe we are live, so I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is going to be about the impermanence of stuff. I was going through a bunch of fractals today, thinking about what it is I'm supposed to talk about. I spent some time thinking about all of the things that there are for us in this experience as human beings, in this experience of being alive. And then I was thinking about this experience of the impermanence of stuff, how stuff has been a part of my life, my whole life, and how that stuff has changed, despite the fact that I haven't been alive for that great of a deal of time. Right? Thinking about it from this perspective of almost like shedding layers and embracing new ones. Thinking about it from the perspective of capitalism, right? That in part, the reason my stuff has been impermanent is because it could have been engineered to be so. Uh, my own negligence made it so. Goodness, did you style your hair? It looks unusually organized. I mean, it's getting longer, I think. That's probably helping again. Yes, I am new replacement. I'm Melt 2.0. Now with the styled hair combo. Thank you though. I think it looks nice as well. Looks like I have hair. Neat. We like that, apparently. Systems check. Yep. Systems are going good. Having hair, good. This is great. We're happy about it. I'm laying it on thick. It's nice having you here, Sam. Like the reason I'm laying it on thick is because I'm thinking about impermanence, right? One of the things, one of the stuff. Did I say just things? Yeah, I say stuff. One of the stuff I had to come to terms with is hair, right? And I had to come to terms with the impermanence thereof as well. And the impermanence of how people see me with my long hair, the impermanence of the kind of conversations I can expect to have now that I have short hair, right? And specifically, the impermanence that comes with it changing, right? Like it's growing again, for instance, right? Like look at that. Like it's growing faster than I wanted to, right? Like I cut it November, right? End of November. Glues it back to the side of head. So I do want to get cut again, Sam. I want to get it cut again. I want to make it more neat once again. I'm trying to transition the whole hair fractal directly into impermanence as a topic. The impermanence of the combs I've combed my hair with. The impermanence of the actual hair strands, right? Like the same hair strands that are on my head right now weren't the same hair strands that I had 4 years ago. All right, one, they grew, and two, there's probably a little bit less of them now, right? And yet, I still believe myself to be the same person. I still believe myself to have the same hopes and dreams for our species. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the intricacy of what's happening, the absurdity that is our current systems. And, I was thinking about it from the perspective of what ifs, right? And I was thinking about it from the perspective of what ifs as it comes to money. And the more I thought about money, the more I thought about stuff, right? That, oh, yes, money allows me to have stuff. If I have money, then I can have stuff. That's how it works in this world. Those are the rules in this world, apparently. And then I thought about the fractal of not having money. And I realized that it comes with not having stuff. I thought about the fractal of losing money, having money and then not having the money anymore. And how the only thing that I lose, really, when I lose the money, is the stuff that I could have gotten instead. And yet, and this is where the stream topic comes in, and yet the stuff is impermanent. Not even the stuff is something that I get to keep. Right? So I can either have money, which can go away, which can be devalued, which can change, or I can have stuff, which can go away, which can be devalued, which can break, or I can have nothing, which is always there and always abundant. But having everything, is a little bit of a mindset shift that I have to make. Having the everything that is the great expanse of sky all around me. Having the everything that is buildings that I get to look at. Buildings that I get to enter. Good day, lovelies. Good day to you, Jovan. So nice having you here with us. We're talking about the impermanence of stuff. We're talking about the fear that comes with money, the having of it, the making of it, the losing of it. And then we're trying to liken that losing of money to the tangible, right? Like, what do you lose when you lose money? You lose stuff, or at least you lose the possibility for stuff. I'm getting sneeze. Oh, please. It hurts. Uh, I don't know if I can mute. Should I be able to? I should be able to mute myself here, right? I don't have a button. No button to mute. There we go. I hope that worked. To spare your ear holes from the sounds of blowing nose. Yeah, I'm having an allergic reaction to the air again. It's bright, as you might notice. Again, it's very bright. And with the brightness comes dry. Very dry. And with the dry comes more particulate. It enters the air, and then my immune system is like, we have a problem. Sir, we have a problem. Sir. Sir, we're deploying histamines. Sir. Sir, there's problems here. Meanwhile, I'm breathing air. It's like, sir, we have a problem. You're breathing air. The air has sharp things in it. Sir. It keeps prompting on my mind. It's like, I get it. I get it. I still have to breathe air. I still have to breathe. I can't stop. Not none of the options. Hey, to me. He doesn't have allergies. That's hilarious, Yeet Lord. I don't know if I should say stuff like this out loud, but I am curious about ketamine. Right? I haven't had any myself just yet in my life, but like there's so much talk in the zeitgeist of mind. Old times. Ugh, you again. Yeah, here I am again. I've been doing this every single day for checks notes. 1,487 days. All right. I'm not going to stop. Ever. I'll never stop. Never, ever, ever. So you're vibing today and kicking your feet up, or we still lame? I don't know if I called you lame last time. Did I? All times? Or are we still lame? If I called you lame last time, I'm very sorry. That was not my intention. I can sometimes be particularly socially inept when it comes to the things I say and the way they might be perceived. I think you did. I think I called you lame. Ah, okay. That's fine. You can call me whatever you want to. Yeah. Love is true. Nonetheless, ketamine is chill. I've done clinical ketamine therapy for drug resistant depression. You see, that's what I'm curious about. It is the whole drug resistant depression thing. But I did ask respectfully, and I'm still asking respectfully, for feet to be kicked up. Aha. No. I'll respectfully ask you to give me money all times. Give me money. Like, to be honest, to be a little bit honest, little bit. I'll be honest with you, right? Like, but we have to like keep it between you and me, just me and you, right? Us, keeping it between us. There's actually no fee. I am sorry. I lied. I lied to you. Actually, I just make art. Yeah, let me show you. You see, here, here's the window where you friends send me the capitals, and then boom, you see. Then I make art. Yeah, I'll show you art that I can give you, that I can ask money and make beautiful things for you with. But like showing you my feet ain't gonna happen. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna open chat quickly again. There we go. Howdy Sam, bless. Yeah, the depression resistance thing. I don't think I'm depressed anymore. I say questioningly, but I definitely want to feel what it's like to not be in that way. Am I? I'm suddenly missing thing. This isn't what I'm interested in. No, but do it in the name of nature and love and peacefulness and kindness and calmness. The only thing I love about you is your dimples. You can't technically see them hiding in the beard hair. It's true. Other than that, you're still lame. Guess I'll just have to forget completely about this conversation and never think about it again. To be honest, ketamine didn't work as well as I would have hoped. No magical brain fixing, but it did help to some degree. I don't know if there is anything that's just going to magically fix our brains, unfortunately, Meat Lord. Right? I am a fan of, let's say. I am a stand to psychedelics. And technically, ketamine is a psychedelic, but I think it's a differently acting one, right? For me, psychedelics are specifically almost like the tryptamines, the stuff that represent our own serotonin and wants to bond with our serotonin receptors. Those to me are psychedelics. And they do help, as you said. They do help. But they do not fix the problem, right? If there is a problem, like, so this is my relationship with psychedelics, right? If I was a person and I had problems in my life, right? Maybe I'll have all of these problems, but I won't have the courage to necessarily go up to them and look at them and be present with them, right? But I'm still facing the same problems and I'm still experiencing the facing of those problems. Then I might take a psychedelic. The problems doesn't suddenly disappear, unfortunately. But what does happen is now it feels like the problem isn't as large because of the amount of experience, the amount of information I'm receiving, right? I can look at this problem and see it for what it is, see it for how large it is, see it for how important it is. And then alongside that, and this is my personal experience, it's almost like a voice arises alongside me as well. And see you tomorrow again. Old times. If you're leaving, it was nice having you, friend. I do this every day. So tomorrow will be another opportunity to share some time again. Psychedelics will just allow this extra voice and yourself to observe the problem, right? But at the end of the day, you are still going to be the one facing the problem, whatever the problem is, whatever the challenge is, right? The psychedelics will just be there with you for it. Be like, oh yeah, wow, how about this problem? Points at problem, gestures broadly, and you're like, oh yeah, problem, yep. And then a bad trip, you probably have heard that terminology. A bad trip is when the psychedelics are trying to make clear to you the problem and be like gestures broadly, and then you go, no, actually, no, actually, there's no problem. That's when you bad trip. I have this saying that I don't know if it's going to be very popular. I'm getting freaking mosquito bit. You see, I just saw the mosquito bite mark. I have this saying that goes, you cannot have a bad trip. You can only earn one. You can only earn one. Is depression something to be fixed, a condition we would want to define as broken, or is it a wider perception? I think it's not a matter of like wanting to fix it. I think it's more a matter of not wanting to feel it. Right, Sam? None of us want to feel depressed. And if we don't want that feeling, then we want something else. And in that way, we can boil it down to a problem to be solved. Right? Problem is feeling depressed, feeling like not want to be alive, feeling like want die. A solution, want life, want not die. All right. And how do I get to that point? And sometimes it's medication, and sometimes it's mindfulness, and sometimes it's exercise, and sometimes it's diet changes, and sometimes it's an adjustment to sleep schedules, and sometimes it's this, and sometimes it's that, and sometimes, and more often than not, it's all of those things combined simultaneously. All right. So yeah, I think it is a matter of perception, definitely. I conceptualize it as a problem, Sam, because it really is for me. But I understand that people think about it differently. Yeah, some people, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Revel. Some people revel in their depression. Some people channel their depression for their art. Some people use their depression to feel alive. Some people uh, use their depression as a personality type, right? So it doesn't have to be a problem necessarily, but to kind of like link up with you a little bit, Yeet Lord, it's a problem for me too, right? It's a problem for me if I feel like I want to die, because I'm not here to die. I'm here to be alive, right? So it's the problem is like sin. It's like I'm missing the mark. If I want to die and I'm here to live, then I'm missing the mark, right? I'm sinning. I'm causing a problem, whatever. So I feel you. Not necessarily the ability, just the need to fix it instead of sitting with it and accepting it. Mm. Sitting with my depression and accepting it. I don't know if it works like that for me. I have a hard time just sitting with a problem and accepting it. Right? I feel like I'm not equipped like that. Like I can sit with a problem and accept it for like 15 seconds. I can accept that I've sat with the problem. I can accept that part. I can be like, yeah, I'm sitting here with the problem, and then I have to stand up and do something. I agree, Sam. However, just accepting something doesn't change the negative impact it has on your life. At least for me. Yeah, for me too. For me too. So many mosquitoes. Right? I can accept that there are mosquitoes that want to eat my body and experience the negative consequences that come of it. Right? Having to scratch myself because I got toxins injected into my skin. But for me, at least, it's not something that I want to accept. So I don't. So I simply refuse. I have the perception, I have the perspective of someone with lifelong depression. It just is the way it is for me. Yeah. Oh yeah. It just is that way for me. Oh yeah. Do you know what today's stream topic is, Sam? Impermanent. Right. So, hello. So if you can experience depression, then surely that depression can be something that is impermanent as well, right? That depression can be something that will pass. And I'm saying this as someone who went through the bouts of depression as well. From ages 12 to 18, I was not okay. And I went to therapy and I got put on medication and I moved schools 3 times, 4 times technically, if you count moving from primary to high school as well. And the depression didn't go away, right? In the same way that Sam just said, it was just the way it is for me. I was just depressed, right? And I'm willing to acknowledge, again, a kind of circumstances, right? A part of my depression was my circumstances, the actual fact that I had to be at school, that I had to mingle with people that I did not necessarily consider my peers, or I want to say it pompously, my equals, right? Think of that what you may. And it did cause me depression because I didn't have people that I could confide in. I didn't have people that I could feel understood my struggle. I didn't have people that wanted to explore the truth of this world with me the way I believe we were supposed to. And that caused me depression, made me very sad, made me not want to continue existing. I changed. I started exercising. I think that was like a very big change for me. As soon as I started exercising, my entire life radically changed. And we can talk about the vanity, the aesthetics of exercise, right? Like, oh, I exercise to look better. Many people do. And I would lie if I said at that point in my life, as a 17, 18-year-old, I started exercising. I would lie if I said I didn't start exercising to look better. But little did I know, and I feel like this was the part that really kind of took me aback, that as I started exercising and as I started looking better, I started feeling better too, right? And not only did I feel better about myself and with myself and in myself, but I started feeling better about other people as well. My relationship with David, me and David actually had like a whole conversation recently, like unfolded while I was starting to take real good care of myself, right? And I got bullied. I got bullied for being a fat kid and a weed smoker, right? Like that part was also a part of it, but I was like the fat weed smoking kid, right? Oh yeah, you smoke weed and eat chips, you pig, kind of fractals. And then I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, I'll show you. And then I got super jacked, right? And I did, again, get super jacked for vanity and for power at that point in my life, because I wanted to look better and I wanted to be able to defend myself because I was getting physically bullied, right? Not only verbally bullied. I was in a hostel, so you live with the bullies literally. You're in the same box. You get locked in at night. So I had to defend myself, right, by becoming stronger. And that things happened, right? Like again, I started smoking weed during that time of my life. Uh, I was I was freed from a lot of the stuff that I was struggling with. And then like one of the things was just like insomnia. I had such poor sleep because my mind just kept running and running and running and running until I like either my mind would keep running until I eventually fall asleep, or I would know my mind is going to keep running until I fall asleep. So I would just distract myself, stimulate, with internet or whatever, until the point that I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. And then I would just fall asleep almost like by accident, and then wake up, 2 hours later again, and then rinse and repeat. And obviously, that was also not good for my health, for my mental health, for my well being, right? So I started smoking weed and I started sleeping properly. And then I was very curious about the fact that, if this change can so significantly influence my life, what other changes can I make that could also influence my life in this significant of a way? And exercise came up as like basically the most miracle of drugs, like miracle drug number one. If you could capsule like 1 hours of exercise per day, right, it would be the number one selling drug overnight. People would fight each other to get into the pharmacy to buy 1 hour of exercise, 30 doses in a bottle. I would. I would pay at least half of my salary, whatever my salary is, all right, just to be able to afford that pill. But that pill doesn't exist, unfortunately, all right? However, you do, and your ability to do these things are always in your power. And the point I'm trying to make with this whole fractal is that things changed, right? The depression in that way was also impermanent. And I would be lying again if I said I was never capable since that day, since becoming more healthy, of feeling depressively. But I've never gotten to the point that I was before I started ever again. Because I showed myself by action and by love and by showing up that there is hope for me to feel differently, to feel better, for this to pass, right? For this bad feeling, for this depression to be impermanent. And I know that it can for you as well. That depression can be something that will pass. I don't know. That preparedness for death is something that could pass. It's a totally different state of being for me. Prepared for death. You see, again, Sam, what you are talking about is not something that I am incapable of understanding. Quite the contrary. It's something that I'm actively fighting. And I feel that is our jobs. That readiness for death, if you want to call it uh, preparedness, right? It's a readiness. It's like I am ready to die, actually. It's oh, I'm like this age, which means historically people live this long. So I'm going to die eventually, and that's okay. I'm going to do whatever until I'm there so I can die already. Right? You can be prepared like that. Sure. Your choice. All right. But I believe we are literally the first human beings ever that that's not the case for anymore. All right? That certainty that your life is going to unfold in this way and you're gonna turn 85, and you're gonna just die in your sleep, an old person. If you're anywhere, under the age of 70 years old right now, if you're in your 60s basically and younger, the future, as you can expect it, is not the same it used to be, right? With the current level of artificial intelligence we're messing with right now, just right now, if we made zero progress, let me put it like this: if we made zero progress from this moment on forward, and we could just use the tools we have right now in AI to improve our medical development, the world, in 2030 is going to be radically different for what we can expect from medicine, for the individual human being. Just 2030, right? So 5 years from now, just with our current tech and zero improvement. But we know that there will be trillions of US dollars invested, right, total globally, into AI over the next 5 years. Trillions. And those trillions of investments are going to go towards the improvement of these systems. These systems that at their current level are already helping us make medical breakthroughs. Right? Like, I feel, again, you can be prepared for death, or you can be prepared to live forever. Right? And I feel the second one is more hopeful. All right. It's like a impermanence that doesn't stop. Infinity impermanence, instead of just the impermanence that does stop you. Right. When you're dead, that's where it stops. That's where it stops. Right? Like, you stop being able to make a difference in other people's lives. You stop being able to help the world. And again, maybe you want that. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're like angry. Maybe you're so sick of it. Maybe you want everybody else to die, like, to hell with it. Maybe you cannot stand these human beings anymore, right? Enter your ego narrative here. Whatever it is, whatever your self is telling you to try and convince you that you are separate, that there is all of that, and then there is me. And then this thing is gonna die someday. And then I won't be, or I will go to heaven or something, right? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Who says? Who said that? Oh, Bibles? Oh, okay. You know? Do they know for sure as well? Or you believe? Okay, good. Faith, it's important. Point I'm trying to make is that we get to be aware of the fact of life right now, right? We're not dead yet. We might be depressed now, right? We might be depressed now, but today's whole stream topic is about impermanence. The fact that things change, the fact that the fact that it will, I believe, it will change. You will be given less and less reasons to be depressed in the future that I envision, right? And this future is going to be one where we actually have help. And you can look at the current state of reality and inference what you think is happening. And when you do so, it is very easy, and I'm willing to admit this, to come to conclusions about the world only getting worse. Life only getting worse and harder, and you get older and things hurt more, and global warmings and etc., etc. Right? The thing that I feel like we are really not aware of, but should be, is the fact that we're fighting some sort of cosmic battle. That every single one of us are on a journey of self-discovery and self-development and self-creation in this world that is going to shape this world forever. And the biggest shame, the biggest regret I think we'll have looking back at our lives is that we didn't realize where we were. We didn't realize how many great opportunities we had right in front of us, but we were too scared to take them. And we're going to be given more and more instances like that, right? Reasons like that to have acted back then in the way we're still supposed to act right now, right? I never look back at my past and I wish I was more depressed. I wish I was sadder about my reality and about the state of the world. I really wish I was so sad that Christmas together with my family. I really wish I was extra sad when me and my loved one watched that movie together. No, no, you don't, right? So you're not going to want to be sad. You're not going to want to die in the future either, right? So I get the preparedness, I get the readiness, I get it, but it's not true. Yeah, it's literally a lie your ego is telling you. And it's good. It's fantastic. It's literally been with you your whole life. It knows all your tricks. It's the one teaching you your tricks. You cannot escape it. Like it's so clever, but it's not always true. Not always true, and we need to get better at discerning. And I feel again, love is true, right? That's the one thing that's true. And in that way, depression isn't something that I think is loving. I don't think so. Hasn't been very loving to me. Yeah, of course. I don't want to seem like I'm arguing. I'm glad that sitting with it helps you a lot. This is true. Yeet Lord. Thank you for holding space as well. I can meditate all day and sit with my depression and coexist and know its impermanence. But at the end of the day, I can't find the momentum to pull myself out of this almost constant feeling. Shrooms really help for my depression, but for a while. But I had bad trips one time. I had a bad trip one time, and I haven't been back since. Yeah, like and again, the reason, and this is not me encouraging you back. I'm just giving you the perspective that I have gained from my own life. The reason is the reason you haven't gone back. And you can be like, ask me how I know. And I'll be like, because I'm scared as well, right? If you had to almost like uh, little dots, right? Frequency map. If you had to have a heat map, I think that's the right word, of my use of mushrooms, right? Psychedelics. You would see it being like red hot when I was 19, and then cooler when I was 20, and then cooler still when I was 21, and then literally ice cold for 20, no, ice cold for like 21, basically. That was when I was in China. And then basically lukewarm ever since, right? And now it's like the coolest it's ever been. I rarely go there because it is terrifying, because it melts me to my core. It shows me the things that I so easily ignore when I'm sober. All right. Shows me the things that I so easily get up to when I'm sober. Right? It's easy for me to be less when I am depressed. It's very easy. Right? It feels good even. Feels like this is what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm depressed. Pulls into a little cocoon. All right. And it's not always fun confronting that. In fact, you might again you might find comfort in cocooning, in vegetating, in not using your brain and turning the thinking off. I feel again there is something to be said because we're talking today, especially, a lot about the individual's responsibility and their perspective in this whole conversation. But we do, at the same time, find ourselves in a world where things are not fairly stacked in the same way they used to be, right? The rules we as human beings faced to try and make a life for ourselves from the state from which we evolved, right? Like you, person in world, find cave, find food, survive, right? To the complexities of the world we exist in now are so far separated that there are more reasons to be depressed than there ever has been, right? So I feel that needs to be said almost just from like a point of admittance as well, that it's not just your fault. It's not. It's not just your fault. But, always the buts, uh, you still can do something about it. And I feel that's where the power comes back to us. And it is up to us to take that power. Taking that power will change your life. I'll keep saying that. I'm thinking about Joy Vive, interestingly enough. Recently, in a yoga class, she shared with me that me offering my yoga classes to her and her showing up for them has changed her life, has changed her well-being, has changed her comfort in her body, has changed her relationship with food, has literally changed her life just doing a 15-minute yoga practice every day. Like it sounds absurd. Maybe it sounds absurd. Maybe you're like, how could it, Melt? How could practicing yoga 15 minutes, spending some time mindfully breathing and moving, how could that change my life? How? Right? I can't see it. It's just going to take some of my time, and then I won't have that time to do the other thing. The thing I do to make money, the thing I do to raise children, the thing I do to this, the thing I do to that. Again, it's not our fault. Because we're not in a society, in a world right now that rewards us taking care of ourselves. Quite the contrary. You wanting a sick day, you wanting, to go on a vacation, it costs you, right? Paid time off or sick leave, right? It costs you days of your time, of your life. So literally, we see taking care of ourselves as an expense that we sometimes can't afford to make. That needs to change. It needs to change. It will change. We'll make it change. Oh, it's wild to say that shroomies cured my depression. I have bouts of depressive lulls a few months after the first time I tried them, but it was wild not to experience it for the first time. For me too, right? I was like in such a deep haze of depression, of this low hum, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die. Like literally this like, right? And then suddenly to just be lifted out of that thought pattern, just to be like, and to be like, oh, actually, I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be alive. And nothing really changed. I was the exact same person in the exact same circumstances, with the exact same family, with the exact same, future outlook. Like nothing changed. Sure, there was more psilocin in my brain, right? Psilocin is the compound that your liver basically synthesizes from psilocybin. Looks even more like serotonin. Like that's such a small change, and it is, relatively speaking, right? If you had to look at it from a scale perspective, it's such a small change, and yet the impact. About that impact, right? Is so profound that it changes your life. My depression was never the same again. Yeah, your depression has less grounds to stand on, right? It's like you realize that the same power that makes you depressed can also make you feel the best ever, right? Think about that. I wanted to be even more aggressive with it. The same power that makes you feel like you want to die can also make you feel like you are God. Isn't that wild? And to like iterate, because I can feel Jovan thinking about this. One of the first things that we shared in this space is the power of your mind. That if you are powerful enough, if someone that gets an anxiety attack is powerful enough to debilitate their body to the point of not being able to move, right? Not being able to take action. Like, think about how powerful your mind is, right? It can literally switch your body off. And if it can switch your body off, then it can switch your body on as well. Whatever you think about that terminology, we are extremely powerful. But again, we're not rewarded for understanding that, and we're not taught how to utilize that energy, that power. And the only way to really get used to, get familiar with that power is to, as Sam beautifully said, actually, to sit with it and to learn from yourself, to grow from that experience as well. Shrooms 100% changed the way I look at things. Even though I still feel the depression, I understand that it isn't all on me. I no longer purely identify with my suffering, and that really did help a lot. It is an identity thing, Yeet Lord. And I feel that's the beautiful thing about psychedelics as well, is that it literally down regulates your default mode network. That version of you that tells itself the story of its depression is called the default mode network. It exists. Like, if you had the best imaging technology that you could like literally scan where neurons are firing the most, right? That would be your default mode network. That story, that self story that you're telling over and over again. And we know this about psychedelics now. When you take psychedelics, it down regulates that default mode network. But your brain doesn't just switch off. So it starts reprioritizing the use of the rest of your brain, of the rest of the everything that you are. And then it becomes very apparent to you that that thing you thought you were doesn't exist. Right? And that's when people talk about stuff like ego death. It's like, oh, I had an ego death experience. Like, what does that mean? It means you realize you don't exist. Right? And that's like Buddhist philosophy as well. And I had a long time understanding what that means. Like, what do you mean I don't exist? Here I am. Of course I exist. I am MeltMore, right? The ego says. But what that means, at least this is the way I have come to understand it, is that what I think I am, the me I am to myself, doesn't exist, right? Because from your perspective, I am someone, right? And then there are multiple different perspectives. And to those multiple different perspectives, depending on time spent, depending on which conversation was had, depending on the nature of the relationship, the perspective on who I am is different, right? And if there is such a vast difference just from one person to the next's perspective of who I am, then it is very clear to me that who I think I am doesn't exist, at least not to the world as it is, right? It exists to the world as I am, but that is literally the I am all of us are, right? And as soon as you get to that point of realization, you're like, oh, it's not that serious, actually. It's not that big a deal. The stakes aren't that high. I don't want to die. I can live this life. I'm going to be fine. It's a profound change. And it lets you off the hook a little bit. Gives you some room to breathe. Makes you a little bit less attached to who you're supposed to be. All right? Because who you're supposed to be doesn't exist either. There is only who you are. You can be prepared like that. It's more, and I apologize for the morbidity. In the event of an emergency, I have pre-selected the sweet release of death. Yeah, I get that. I get that. What I'm saying is, nah. I'm saying nah. I'm actually being like, how about nah? We pre-select life, right? We actually hold on. And it is, again, me being like obsessive or whatever, right? And not many people like that. And to those people, there is an infinite world out here as well alongside us. But if you want to be one of my friends, you wanting to die doesn't fly, right? And I'm not going to try and be belittle you or be mean to you that you want to die, making you want to die more, ideally. But it's a matter of I cannot let my friends feel that way, right? I am failing as a friend, right? And if you don't feel the freedom to come and talk to me about that stuff, then I'm failing as a friend. And if I am in your life as a friend and you're feeling that way still, then I'm failing as a friend. And I can keep going. All right. Maybe that is a little bit egotistical. Look at this dude. Hey, bro, don't step on my stuff. Oh, hey, ugh, here we go. Look at us. Look at us being two friends, being two frenzies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at us. Look at us being here, being in the now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I joke that one day the universe will give me the death I've earned. Until then, I have been given the opportunity to live and love. Yes, ye Lord. This is what I believe too. I believe that you are not dead until you're gone, right? Until you can really not make a difference, you have to live. So, okay, let me share it from this perspective, right? And I shared this a while ago. Is that in the same way, human beings can have the hubris of like self harm or suicide, right? Like the hubris of, I want to die so bad that I'm going to do it myself. I want us as a community, and this is what I hope for us, right? From a place of love. I hope for us that we have the hubris in the same way to feel, I want to live so bad, I'm going to live myself, right? To live extra, to live with even more gusto, to be like, I'm going to do the opposite of killing myself. I'm going to take even better care of my health, take even better care of my environment, take even better care of my loved ones, so that I can be a part of this world for as long as I possibly can, so I can make a positive difference for as long as I possibly can, because we need that, right? If you believe the world's a bad place, even more so, because if the world's a bad place, then we need more good people, right? So no matter how you slice it, we need the good ones. We need you. Thank you for coming to this chat. I appreciate you. I'm going to start up the horizontal one and we'll have another little conversation. Maybe just like wrapping it up. Appreciate your friends for joining me. It's always a pleasure. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now, friends.